Alrighty, welcome back. Today I'm going to be working on my FJ80, building a new front bumper. I've already taken off the old one over there and started measuring for the new one. I kind of have an idea. It mixes some stuff that's already on the market with whatever's in my head. I have this new Harbor Freight winch I've had sitting on the shelf for a couple of years. I have my bottom winch plate designed, so I'm going to go ahead and start getting that cut out now, and then there's going to be a bunch of CAD work and design and figuring stuff out. Here's the first part set up. I got all my holes set, or the speeds and feeds, so it's going to go through, cut the holes first, and then the outside shape. That's going to be mounted to the bottom of the frame rail, and then the winch will mount on those 4 holes there. So here's the bottom plate for the bumper. That's the winch is going to mount to. I think it turned out pretty good. I might have undersized the distance from this hole to this hole just a little bit, but we'll see. I had to go through and chase all the threads on the bottom. They're all rusty and dirty. And I had to search for some bolts, but it fits on there. Check it out underneath. I added this feature here because I want to add my power steering cooler in this area. So hopefully, you know, the air will kind of come up and cool that a bit. Yeah, that fits really well. Let's see if the winch will bolt into that area. Let me find the bolts. Oh yeah. That fits in there perfectly. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but that's the bottom of the winch there. Fits perfect. I slotted these holes so I can move the whole bumper forward if I need, because back behind the winch here it's kind of a tight fit, but it looks like it's going to clear all that. Awesome. Very cool. So that's about what I'm going for on the side here. Be a little something like that, where this bottom part lines up with this part here. I have it all designed in CAD. I changed it a little bit from this so everything matches up. So I'm going to cut 2 of those out, and I guess this whole video we're going to be listening to my compressor leaking because I'm too lazy to replace the part. Next part is loaded in. New sheet of steel on. So let's go ahead. Oh, and all my parameters, well, you can't see, all my parameters are set as well. So let's see how she does. All right, this part's cut out here and cleaned up. Let's see if it'll fit. I got some bolts here. I need to get all the correct hardware for this. I'm just finding random part or random nuts and bolts. All right, I'll have to do a little bit better of a fit before I do all the welding. It looks kind of big currently, but my plan is I'll have a piece of another piece of 3/16 is going to cross here with the fair lead. So that's going to be on a slight angle, and then another one up here going across, and both those will have some sort of features cut into them. And then the top will have a plate with some sort of a notch kind of right here, so you can fit your hand down there to grab that. And then maybe on the top as well having some sort of bolt holes for fog lights or, I don't know, other attachments in the future. Here's my fit down in there. It's kind of a big gap. I tried to oversize this a little bit. The outside to outside frame was 30 1/8. I gave it just a little bit more, but cutting it on the plasma undersized it a bit, but I'll be able to weld that. It's a nice spot to weld there. Let me figure out what I'm gonna do next. It's been like probably an hour or two between each kind of cut and clip here, figuring out each one of these parts. So I'll probably be another hour to figure out that front face, and I'll get back to you. I cut out the other side over here. Yeah, so you get a better idea of what it will eventually look like. It's kind of similar to the Coastal Off-Road bumper that I've seen a couple people run in. These bumpers are hard to they're hard to design something that other people don't have, so maybe I'll make it look slightly different, or maybe I won't. So I got this front face cut out, but first I want to come through and get everything tacked on so that way the side pieces in this bottom can't move. I put the jack under here because this had a little bit of a bow in it. So when I weld this face on, it'll get that all nice and straightened out. I'm going to start with this side, getting it all fit up. And then this side over here is a little, not wonky, but I just need to be able to get these two edges fit up nicely. I ended up just building the whole bumper in Fusion 360. I found this light on Amazon. It's 25 inches and it had some measurements on it. So I took those measurements to get these holes here. And this feature here is so I don't have to do a weld across this whole face. I can just weld this 7 inches and this 7 inches and grind it flat. Also added these clevis mounts here. So this outside plate will fully weld onto the side and in here. And then I'll have this small place here that welds. These top parts here are so you can reach your hand through and engage and disengage the winch. And on this side, I just decided to mirror it so it looked even across it. So I got all the skeleton of the bumper all designed, and I just started, come on, turn around. Started getting pieces cut out. So those are going to be the side clevis mounts. That'll mount or weld on right there. I got the upper face right here cut out, and then the top plate as well. So I gotta, I'm gonna get these cleaned up and then get everything tacked on. I pulled the winch out so I don't get any sparks on the synthetic rope. And now I'm going to start tacking all my pieces in. So I'm going to start with this face. And I'm using a magnet, getting these parts lined up here. So they'll be smooth. Oh, that looks good. I'm going to tack this side first and then work my way over here. Just got to kind of squeeze out a little bit. Same thing for this top piece. So this face right here is bowing out a little bit. I'm gonna get the sides tacked and then use my level to push up against it, and it'll flatten it out. It just has a small little gap here. I don't know if you're able to see that. There's no rock in that. All right, got it all tacked together. That's all nice and somewhat, smooth. There's no lips on either side. And then the top is tacked in. And this is the face I was talking about right here. I just pushed it in with that level and it made it straight all the way across. Gave it a couple tacks. And then right here, that's where your hand will fit down to twist the thing for the winch. As far as the side pieces go, I only had these bolts here for mock-up. This plate is now going to cover that, and then I will weld these holes closed to the back of this plate on both sides. Also, before I put those pieces on, I'm going to have to fully weld this out and grind it, because all this is going to get enclosed into the clevis mounts. This tack that's up here, I cut it because it was just a little high, so I'm going to push that down, and then I'm going to come through and just weld all this out. I ground down all my tacks as well. I have this 1.5 quarter wall DOM that I was going to use for the spacers between those pieces. So I'm going to cut the DOM to 3/4, I think. I cut my tube inserts out and kind of got it mocked up on here. I'm going to cut out this piece before I tack anything on. I was kind of just giving it a few days as well, letting this soak in. And I wasn't originally thrilled with it, but I do like it now. And then here it is. With the wheel mocked up, but I think that looks pretty good. In Fusion, which I'll show you here in a second, I went back through and made a back piece that goes across, and then all the frame plates. So I'll show you that, and then we'll get that cut out. All right, we're back in Fusion, working on the bumper again. I added the frame rails in here, so that way I could put or make these pieces around the frame rail. And then there's also one at the front here. I wanted to add this back ribbon for extra support and to kind of box all that in. And then also the power steering cooler is going to mount to these holes, and then these holes here are to provide some extra airflow, hopefully. Not too bad on the slag either. The back piece is in. It fits really well. There's a little bit of a gap towards the bottom and on the sides as planned. the, can I put this in here anywhere? 1 second, let me get my camera in here. Small gap on either side here, and then it sits flush on top. It's hard to show it. And then there's all the frame plate. So I made as well, and then I'm going to give it one more bolt on the top on each side. So I'll have 3 on the bottom, 1 on the top. Should heat this up, but I'm not. I need to make them longer. I cut it to 13 inches. You can see it's short there, so I'll measure that gap and make up for that distance. All right, cut new ones out. They're 3/8 of an inch longer. I'd say that looks pretty nice. It's a good fit all the way down. I can get some nice welds down the whole thing, and there's no gap on the bottom. Majority of it is now welded inside and out. Kept having problems with my gauge. I need a new one. It kept lowering the pressure, so then I was getting like these just absolute terrible welds. So I'm gonna have to come through and grind a lot of that out. But I fixed it. A lot of my other welds are looking much nicer. So I'm gonna come through with my sanding disc and just clean up a lot of the slag that's on here real quick. All right, it's been a couple weeks. I finished welding up the whole bumper and installed the fairlead mount plate there. The hole that this is designed, or that doesn't make sense. The light bar that this hole was designed for on Amazon is no longer there. So I bought this one and it doesn't fit the way I want. So I'm probably gonna end up rebuilding the whole bumper in the future with the added light bar. I also would like to widen the base plate like 1/8 of an inch, and then everything else as well, just so the bumper slides on a little better. But anyways, for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and get it all primered and painted up and installed so I can end this video out. All right, today's been like a super windy, stormy day. So I got a bunch of dirt into the paint, but anyways, it's all painted up and it looks pretty good. It's still kind of drying. You can see some streaks there. I'd say overall the bumper turned out pretty decent. Like I said, I think I want to come back and change a couple of the dimensions just so it fits on better. And then also this piece that goes across there, I'm going to buy the correct light bar that I want to use, and then I'll design those holes all around that. So for now, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of sit on this while I finish up the rest of the Landcruiser. As you can see, it's nowhere close to being done. I started working on some fender liner stuff, which you'll see in some upcoming videos. And then I need to change up a bunch of this stuff as well. So anyways, like I said, I'm gonna kind of let it marinate for a couple months, see if I actually like this full design, decide what I want to change or not, and then I'll just build a new one. So anyways, yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Hopefully you're able to take some of my ideas and implement them into some of your own projects. I'm not using the fanciest of tools. I do have that plasma table, which I put together out of pretty cheap parts. And a lot of the other stuff I'm using isn't super expensive or unobtainable to have. So yeah, thanks for watching.